Yo, it's your boy. I hope you enjoy this new video. If you do, make sure to like and subscribe. Put a cool comment down below. And I hope I'll hear from you soon.
Sounds of Swift present UFX. Sounds of Swift present UFX. Swift present UFX.
Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. Yo, what's up everybody, it's me, thiloswift, aka THILO, aka the greatest dude in the world, aka the ASMR king, aka illz. Holy glory, we got this new sample pack, and it's amazing. Almost 800 files. Let me just check this and change it so it records. Boom! Shakalaka! So we went right in here. I prepared a little something here. We'll look at this later on, and then I'll start up with showing you the bonuses. Then we're looking at the drums to finally look at the FX, and all three consist of the new pack. So stay tuned and check this out. And it's really cool if you're here and subscribe this. Because I appreciate your honest feedback and comments, and it motivates me to progress further in my endeavors. You know, let's head right in. Boom. So we have that pixel pack here, and if you're an eager follower, you already got this release. I made this with Robert Blicksrud. Shout out to #NotSoFriendly, cool dude. And we made this, and I just wanted to add my side of what I made for this pack in here as well, just to give you a little difference from the samples you got in this pack, because a little variety is always good, am I right? So this contains big as fuck 808 kicks, some claps, some hi-hats, nothing really fancy or spectacular. You know these samples, you know this boy. You know this. And then we got some leads, some steps, cool sounds in here. And then we got ad-libs. I made all of those. Right. Put this in the offbeat and get a really cool effect. I'll show you this later on. Then we look at the humble bonus pack, and shout out to my hashtag Acolyte gang. Shout out to Jack, shout out to Ollie, which inspired me with doing this, or finally pulling through and releasing this, because I made some of my own humble drums. If you're not in the loop, Humble is a song by Kendrick Lamar and Skrillex remixed it, and the remix is really cool and the sounds are really dank. Honest hashtag here, I'm still waiting on my clap sample from Acolyte, and I didn't really like the hi-hats, so maybe work on those next time a little more, but otherwise I really appreciated it, and it works flawlessly with my bonus pack. So check this out. So we got these claps here, we got a loud kick, and it's really nothing special, you know, it's just some snares and maybe not these hi-hats you put in there, but who hasn't got hi-hats nowadays, right? Then we got some impact, some sirens, you know, just to fill up the spectrum during your drops, the little parts in between, the transitional effects, you know. Then we got this third bonus, because all good things come in 3. We got this white noise, and this has also been released by me a few days ago. I don't know. And it contains white noise, which I almost exclusively use on every track I produce. So get that while it's hot. Booey booey, that's really good. And it consists of basically just white noise I made, but in a certain kind of rhythm, you know, the groove. And you just put this on top or below a layer to create more energy. And then I put in some white noise rises as well as some white noise synth adds. You just put this on top of your synthesizer, and it fills out the spectrum really nice. If you equalize it a little bit afterwards, you don't necessarily have to do that though, just turn on the volume a little further. Then finishing with the bonuses, we're coming up to the drums, and the drums are almost the same standard stuff you find in a lot of sample packs, but it's got one twist, and this the do-it-yourself snare kit, bro, because you are the man or woman or trans, you know, you are the ageist, but more on that a little later on. If we look at this right here, we see I made cool claps you can use for your productions. Then I made some Jack U kinda really expressive fills, you know. And then we got crashes, because what's a drum kit without crashes? Then we got hi-hats, and these alternate a little between these ones where you take 2 for a loop, you know, and these really short ones for the trap drops, you know. Then we got the kicks, and same with the kicks as with the hi-hats. We got these really basic loud kicks, you know, expressive kicks, and then below you can layer or put these on their own, because they can stand on their own, these super loud as fuck 808 kicks, you know. Going on, looking at the percussions, I'm not going to look at all the percussions right now, because quite frankly these are a lot of percussions, 40 percussions, but we'll be checking out some, for example, these more transitional like, or Jake Huey, you know. This is really filling up the space of some of those quieter parts of your drum kits, you know. Then looking at the snare here, I made various more snares more on the light side here, right, and then more snares on this louder Jack Huey side, you know. And the great thing about this sample pack, why you should get it, is I put in unique sounds you wouldn't necessarily find in other sample packs, I would argue. For example, I put in here, and then let's just listen to for example, listen to this little clip I made here. We here I put in this plop here, this plop 10, Puff. Then I pitched it up, and boom, okay, we got this, right? Then afterwards I took the Jack U snare 6, and if we look at it, it starts it's got 2 impacts, so to speak. And what I'm going to do is now I'll just place these simultaneously, and then I'll cut out the later part. And then what I did to create more of an individual snare is I added this water effect, this water 15, just before the snare starts to hit. And if we listen to, for example, this snare on its own, it's really strong. It's this typical Jack U snare you know and love. And my take on this Jack U snare with this super custom drum pack would be, right, which is really cool. And then if we even delete this, I do like this in the beginning though. You know, it really gets the snare poppin', you know. But that's that. You got loads of coins and chips, for example, to create this little thingy in the front. You can, for example, put in a coin, right, and you hear this high formante, right, and then maybe put, right, create cool snares in here, really cool snares. Don't wanna take too long in this video right now. Then we got these plops here I was talking about, right, loads of inspiration for custom snares. Then we got these punches I haven't even talked about. You can just layer a further punch below this to create more drive in the snare. And then these water effects I was talking about, which you can put maybe in the beginning or in the end of the snare to create the suctioning effect, or create more high-end information in the snare itself to make it less tiresome on the ears after a while, because mostly snares tend to be mixed really well if they are nice and pleasant on the ears over a longer course of time. For example, a good snare from I don't know, it's some think of a heavy metal band. You know, the snare is always really not too hard, not too soft. It sits really well in the mix, you know. Then after we looked at the snares, we look at the various, and these are just 3 offbeats you can put in there. And now we get to the good part, the FX part. And what I put in here is more than 30 atmospheres that are really good. For example, let's pick, I don't know, let's pick the 20th one, okay. And it's a longer atmosphere, you know, you have to give it a little time, and maybe we'll just put the snares below there, but this is what it would sound like. Right, and it's immediately a really cool atmosphere. What would I do to take away the feeling and the pain? Allegiance to the pain. Now I fucked up and I miss you. I'll never be like you. Ooh. Ooh, I'm only yeah, right. And then in the same regard we got really odd ones. Oh, we got these sounds. Alright, just pitch this one down an octave for a really weird sound. Then clunky sounds. You know, it's all really easily named, so you remember maybe the heartbeat as well. My heartbeat right now, thinking about all these cool samples. Like and subscribe if you haven't. You know, hit that subscribe bell, bro. Hit that subscribe bell. And then following up with looking over the ambience, we'll look at the sparkle I put in here, and This is also really straightforward. These are effects that make those tracks shine through because these are really expressive and show you something. And in this case we got these more ambience-y kind of crowd voices, but you know. Then we got cool donks, you know, looking at those cool donks. Then we got fireworks. Haven't really seen this in a preset pack, because put this in a intro in the drop and you're immediately in Tomorrowland, you know, having everyone freak out. Then we got cool glitches. Easy. We got these main effects, and this is really the hard piece of the pack. These FX I put in here, and these are really cool, you know. These are straightforward, you know. Scream female. What would I expect? Right. Schoolbell. What did I expect? Pistol. Right. These are really jackie and interesting to use in your sounds, you know. I try to create a sample pack everybody can use and will use for a longer time, because in my eyes I don't like to see people using sample packs which are immediately forgotten about after, I don't know, a month or two. I want these sample packs to be an essential part of your production accessoires, you know. This is why I put a lot of work in this one, for example, because I wanted to create this definite sample pack I always use when I create music in this kind of vibe, you know. And following up by saying this, we'll look at the swords. It's always good to have a few sword slices. And then we got some weird effects, because you'll never know when you need to be weird. Alright, that's also really cool. And then I put these 3 whip folders. 3, you might ask, oh, why 3 whip folders? XXLs, why would you use 3 freaking whip folders? It's not necessarily necessary, but useful. When I started, I created these really loud whips, right? You know, which you put in the offbeat to create this analog kind of suction effect, this whoop, 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 right? And then I made really quiet drums, quiet whips, right? Which are also cool. You put it in the off beat, so to speak. And whip B is mainly everything in between. So you got these strong whips, these medium strong whips, and these weak whips. But I figured some of those could be in the whip C section. But oh well, you'll figure it out if you're really interested in that stuff, you know. And then looking over the instruments, sample-based instruments, there aren't any really in there, because I used these in Serum, and we'll look at this in a few seconds. But looking at the horns here, we got the horns with and without NFX. Right, so we got cool horns, and then I affected many of those horns to get an alternative to this, you know. And then we got, in the same regard, some piano slides or something like this, you know, because I have presets that emulate pianos, and this is really interesting looking at this. Then following up with impacts, we got 30 impacts, from something like this to something like this to something like this, you know, many impacts. Then we got many risers, and here it also kind of gets ambiguous, because some of those risers are downshifters as well as risers, and some of those are more ambience, you know, and some are more straightforward in your face. And then we got these transitions, and these tie into the same kind of principle. We got these really expressive Jack U kind of ones, I would argue, you know, which I would imagine Jack U would use. And we got this medium length here, and these medium length, they are they are a little longer, you know. I don't even know what to say to that. Then we got these very short ones, you know, and then we got these very, very short ones. right? You can put anywhere in between parts to create some glitchy kind of vibe, right? And then we got these transitional effects in the end, which is also just some impacts with movement, I would say. And something like this, I don't know, it's just a transition, you know. And then in the end we're looking at the vocals here. These are ad-libs going to the same regard as the ad-libs in the Dead Pixel pack. Right, you can put this in the offbeat. Or use it in a layer for your snare, you know. The combinations are endless in here. And thus we complete this overview. And lastly, I'll show you the Serum presets here. I made some of those at least. Looking at, for example, the first one, we see it's a very wobbly one, right? And then it reminded me of Marshmallow, so I call it Mellow. And then we got this Bounce Expert, for example. It's more like a Skrillex sound. Oh, I'm sorry if your eardrums just shattered. And turn it down a little. Right, get this bouncy, really bouncy sound to it. And then, I don't know, Skrill. Maybe look at the Skrill with the LFO. Right, and many of those are already macro control, but some I will finish later up this week and then release it this weekend, for example. Not for example, this weekend is the release. Wow, gee, cool. Then we got, I don't know, Miami sounds. You know, really cool stuff. Really weird sounds, you know. Look at this one, we got it open already. Right, cool sounds in here. And then lastly finishing up with these pianos. Really airy stuff. Really airy stuff. And maybe look at this one here. This probably won't see the light of day because it hasn't got that much potential. And I always just fuck around, try to see if I find a cool sound. And this one, for example, it does have more potential to be something. And yeah, I hope you liked this super dope preview of the sounds. You know, check it out. I'm kind of tired. I'll maybe go to sleep now. But I hope you enjoyed this rather brief overview. And I'll talk to you later. Remember to like and